In 2010, Michelle Obama put the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act into place, which aimed to upgrade nutritional standards. The act was an attempt to prevent this kind of reality. Although meals were criticized for consisting of unappetizing foods, it was a step in the right direction. However, changes can still be made to U.S. school lunch, albeit in moderation.
The number of obese children has nearly tripled since the 1980s and is a serious problem in the United States. As the U.S. battles an obesity epidemic, the state of school lunch has become a focal point for changing our nation's eating habits. By looking closely at what our students eat, one thing has become clear. The change in the menu is essential for creating a healthy future. Although costs may be higher initially, in the long term, our nation will save billions of dollars in healthcare. These are all results of schools using primarily preservatives instead of fresh ingredients. Schools often use the cheapest foods available, which increases bad cholesterol rates for students. In fact, these patterns have led to extremely poor eating habits.
Only 1 in 10 children in the U.S. consumes the recommended daily dose of fruits and vegetables. And for most kids, French fries make up between 1/4 to 1/2 of vegetables consumed. 1 in 5 public high schools offers menu items from fast food places, and 1 in 10 elementary schools do the same. Students who eat school lunch regularly are 30% more likely to be obese than other kids. From 2001 to 2009, the government spent more than $145 million on spent hen meat for schools. Spent hens are hens too old to produce eggs, which don't even meet the standards of Jack in the Box or KFC. McDonald's and Taco Bell test the meat they serve 5 to 10 times more than schools do. We asked kids at our local library about how they felt about having a healthier school lunch.
What school do you go to?
I go to Rice Middle School.
Rice Middle School, okay. And would you be happier if you had healthier food options at your school?
I would.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
When Plano school students were asked if they considered school lunch healthy, an overwhelming 88% said no.
How do you feel about school lunch?
I think they're pretty unhealthy because they have like pizza rolls, mac and cheese, and stuff like that. It's kind of gross.
I do not like them, but sometimes I have to eat at school.
I have not had school lunch from here since the year started because school lunch is nasty.
Terrible, gross. just no, not a good choice.
Okay.
I definitely don't think school lunches are as healthy as they try to be. I think they offer a lot of options that make it really easy for us to make it not healthy.
Do you think school lunch is healthy?
No, I don't. It's pretty bad.
Definitely not.
No, not at all.
Like I already said, I think they have a lot of options that make it unhealthy. Like they do have cat corner and stuff like that, a lot of options for us to get vending machine items and stuff that isn't necessarily healthy. So I feel like that school lunches tend to try to be healthy, but I don't think they succeed at it.
Is there too much junk food at your school?
Yeah, they sell like chips and they sell so much stuff and it's so bad.
Yes, there definitely is too much junk in school lunches.
Yes.
As a physical therapist, how important do you think it is to make healthy dietary choices?
Oh, I think that I listened to a cardiovascular seminar once, and the doctor giving the talk said the most important medication that you can put into your mouth is the choice of food that you eat, and the most important treatment that you can apply to your body is the choice to exercise. So I think your food choices is paramount to your health.
All right. Do you think diets matter more than exercise? Because there's a common misconception that exercising alone can make you healthy.
Yes, and that is the worst, that is the biggest misconception. So 1 mile running or walking is equivalent to burning about 100 calories. And 1 pack of Skittles is like 280 calories or something ridiculous. And so we'll never be able to stay ahead. And even if you try to exercise on a regular basis, if you run 6 miles every day, that's just 600 calories, and that's an order of French fries. So yeah, it's a misnomer to think that you can keep up with exercise. It's like 85% of a healthy weight is based on food choices over exercise.
All right, thank you. How do you feel about local schools serving ice cream and soda?
Oh, bad. Especially, yeah, both, but the sugar. And we did a project where we looked at how much sugar is in 1 soda, and that is your daily intake of sugar for the day, right there, 1 drink. And so being able to, and I think that serving candy, ice cream, all that, I think is terrible. It's just not modeling the correct choices.
Okay. Do you think student nutrition would be improved if you removed fried and greasy foods?
Yes, but yeah, for sure. And yes, I do.
Yes, okay. Do you think students would have better academic performance based off of a healthier diet?
Yes, 100%. And research has shown that sugar itself has an inflammatory process. It affects all of your body systems, but even affects your ability to think clearly, and you can have like brain fog and sugar fog, and that anybody who's taken themselves off of sugar, once they've gotten it out of their bodies, then they usually feel so much more alert and clear. And sugar is as addictive, if not more addictive, than cocaine. So yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Do you think poor dietary habits can lead to an increased chance of obesity?
Yeah, I know, it's a fact. Yeah. Yes.
There are federal regulations for most fats and salts, but no limits at all on sugar. Many school foods easily go over the 24-gram limit, as even low-fat yogurt has 47 grams.
The Center for Investigative Reporting found that elementary school lunch menus contain so many calories from added sugars and fats that they exceed the recommended allowance for the whole day. Sometimes schools purposely serve a lot of sugar to help meet federal requirements for calories per meal. Nutritionists and anti-obesity advocates say that's bad for kids.
A list of school foods that have surprisingly high amounts of sugar include, but are not limited to, ketchup, fruit juice, chocolate milk, granola bars, and breakfast cereals.
First up is the United States, and
so those are chicken nuggets,
yeah,
and some frozen peas, and a cookie and mashed potatoes, which actually look pretty good, and a fruit cocktail.
All right, so that doesn't look terrible, right? Just
no,
like
looks,
that. Does that look pretty terrible?
Well, there's no fiber on that dish, on that plate, except maybe a little bit in the peas, right? So that fruit is all sugar syrup.
That's right, sugar
so
syrup. That's dessert.
Yeah, so that's a dessert.
There's 2 desserts.
Yeah.
I was actually saying not that terrible just because there was something green, because you see so many of these images they're not. Now again,
as the Reagan administration said,
ketchup was a vegetable.
There's a vegetable.
Ketchup is a vegetable. Yeah. All right, so we're just going to keep rolling through these things.
So
this
look
is
at
Greece. Look at Greece, a nice Greek salad.
That's nice.
Some orzo.
Like baked chicken.
Yeah, looks like Greek yogurt. That looks pretty good.
Spinach wrapped something.
This is South Korea.
Oh, look at
those greens and the vegetables.
Little chopped dog.
Yeah.
What is
Brazil. There's less meat on the Brazil plate than I would have thought, but it looks like there's some meat. Finland.
Again, they got the sweet potatoes or whatever that is, and they got a green soup and the beets, and that looks horrible, but it's healthy.
Whatever that is there, that looks good. Italy, we knew Italy was going to be good. It looks like a nice fish.
Fish, they're giving the kids fish and a salad and some grapes.
In the UK, kids who eat healthy school lunches are 3.4 times more likely to focus on their studies and retain information. Absences due to sickness were also reduced by 14% just by switching their meal program over to healthier foods. This is because the UK doesn't serve chips, fizzy drinks, or sweets, and deep fried foods are limited to no more than 2 portions per week. Similarly, in France, fried food can only be served a few times a month, and the Ministry of Education gives students water to drink. Students are also typically served a salad before the main dish. Other countries too have clearly had success in improving student health, and now it's time for the US to follow suit. It's also crucial that we follow through on food policies. Although the recent USDA Free and Reduced Lunch program has improved the quality of cafeteria food in participating schools, students can still make suboptimal choices and increase their risk of obesity.
It's a noble effort, but an ABC News investigation shows the USDA's new school lunch guidelines are not going down so well with many kids across the country.
Students can still make relatively unhealthy choices by selecting flavored milk over plain milk or by not selecting a vegetable, fruit, or entree. As a result, it's clear that there needs to be an increase in promotion and education of healthy foods.
How do you think school lunch can be improved? By food quality, specific foods?
I think that school lunch can definitely be improved if we took the preservatives out of food, and really anything that we're having to read a nutritional label on is probably loaded with sugar. The recommendations are that females have 6 teaspoons of sugar a day and males have 8 teaspoons of sugar a day, and there are so many hidden sugars, and I think that schools have a responsibility to teach the kids about healthy nutritional choices and put more fresh vegetables, more fruits than just a random orange or an apple. I mean, really good choices of fresh fruits and vegetables, and then healthy protein choices like meats that are chicken or beef or pork.
All right, thank you. Okay. What foods do you think should be added to school lunch to make it healthier? Salad?
Yeah, salad, a salad bar. But even on the salad bar, it would be great if there was explanations, like, because a salad bar isn't just macaroni salad with ranch, which kind of defeats the whole purpose. But yeah, so the salad bar, options of grilled vegetables, fresh fruits, everything like that. Just with giving people the power to make choices, to have knowledge behind their choice, so that they know that how much sugar is in each thing that they choose.
All right. What do you tell your patients about healthy eating?
Oh my gosh, well, but when I have my patients, by the time they've come to me, they've usually had open heart surgery. And they've, most of the time, are diabetic, have type 2 diabetes, which is the diabetes that they brought on, usually with poor food choices. And so we really talk about how they need to kind of make changes where they can do either like a DASH or a Mediterranean diet and incorporate in better choices.
Awesome. How can school lunch have a better nutritional balance?
I think that just kind of getting all of those things that we said earlier, getting more options for fruit and vegetables, and lots of research has shown that when the schools do things like have their own garden, or the cooks are allowed to prepare food versus heat food, that it tastes better. So a lot of schools, they just order boxed lasagna and boxed, Salisbury steak, and they don't make the food. But the research has shown that the taste is better when you're allowed to make it, and actually it costs less. So if schools could get back to being able to prepare their food, and then they can tweak the flavors of it, then that alone also helps with the balance.
Despite this overwhelming issue, the U.S. can slowly fix the problem of school lunch by increasing availability of fresh fruits and vegetables, using more raw or minimally processed meats and potatoes, and switching to breads with a high percentage of whole grain. Furthermore, we could also move towards increasing scratch-cooked items and low-fat milk instead of energy drinks and sodas.
For example, an average school lunch currently consists of foods along the lines of a cheese pizza, a 1/4 cup of canned pineapple, 8 ounces of milk, and a dessert item. However, we can easily have the same kind of lunch but with healthier substitutes, such as using whole wheat pizza, baked sweet potato fries, a 1/4 cup of tomatoes, a 1/2 cup of applesauce, and 8 ounces of low-fat milk instead.